Thank you, Christine. Christine has just said a very dangerous idea, one almost foundational to the identity of Judson, and it's the idea that we have bragged for a long time that this church is for the people outside the walls. Implication, not those of us here. I want to really go where she was going with that idea today, if you don't mind. I believe Judson is for the people inside and outside and outside and inside. May need a little unpacking because, again, we have bragged about it for kind of a long time. Permit me to open our suitcase and to show how much otherizing, others, us, hurts the very people we think we're acting like we're helping. You will find that idea in a lot of places. Robert had it. I was a little concerned that Christine even talked him into accepting help. Did you hear how she did it? By saying, "Oh, go ahead, Robert, take help now. You're paying it forward." Implication. No offense. She knows that was coming. Paying it forward implies that we are supposed to pay in the first place, and we are not supposed to pay for ordinary gifts of human existence. People deserve food and respect and apartments at prices we can afford. Now, I don't have as big a crush on Pope Francis as Reverend Ellick does. But I do have a bit of a crush. I'm a little smitten by the man. And the reason is that he has a sacramental theology of poverty, which is different than a progressive theology of poverty. In progressive theology, we assume that we are the givers and not the getters. Needless to say, this idea advances the oppression of the poor and ourselves, because poverty feeds on shame. Poverty loves shame. Some progressives actually love poverty because it allows us to feel useful and to thank God that at least we're not them. I don't know what else I've got to say, but at least I'm not that. I'm not on dog food. I may have a spirit worthy of dog food that's looking down on people who eat dog food. Watch that word, them. It is an otherizer. Back to Judson. I can't believe the number of people who come to visit me and say, "I know you have better things to do with your time, but..." And then comes the emptied suitcase, the heartache. There is a deep shaming in human community and progressive theology about human need. Like you're not supposed to need anything, and if you do, apologize for it. We are not supposed to be weak or estranged or heartbroken in any way, and if we are, it must be our fault. Or we need to pay somebody to get fixed, or at least pay it forward. How many times have you said in that other very popular cliche, "I know I'm a lot better off than other people are"? Well, okay. Good for you. That is also an anti-sacramental point of view. It's like the foot saying to the hand, "I don't need you," or "If I do need you, or have an occasion in which I might need you, I must be a part of the human race, and who needs that? Who wants to be like that?" What the poor need is to be relieved of being responsible for their poverty. What the rich need is being relieved of being responsible for their wealth. Neither deserves either. Or as my brother, who lives in North Carolina, just said to my nephew, who lives in North Carolina, my nephew had figured out he felt so much pity for his bride-to-be that he felt he had to buy her a $25,000 diamond engagement ring. And he doesn't have that kind of money at all. And so Chris said, "Dad, I just did that because she really deserves it." And my brother, in a good old North Carolina hoot, said, "Nobody deserves nothing like that, Chris." Richard Rohr said that the great division in life is not between the sacred and the profane. Instead, the division is between the sacred and the desecrated. The sacred and the desecrated. We desecrate need regularly in progressive theology. We think our job is to help fix things or otherwise otherize those in shameful need. Again, the poor are not responsible for their poverty. Robert was right. What the poor want, ask any gang member, is respect. The Beatitudes tell us that there is blessing in suffering, and that you probably can't be blessed if you can't suffer. People who try to do something about poverty are otherizing our own suffering and thereby refusing a blessing. The kind of suffering that is available to people who can afford to put Gruyere cheese in their mac and cheese is here. It's not guilt about the Gruyere. It's knowing the great incompleteness of the one world that is not fulfilled or complete until everybody gets food, and where no one need be embarrassed by their wealth or their poverty. If you want to insist on being ashamed or having shame, go for it. Enjoy yourself. But have shame for the broken body, the world that does not yet exist. Don't say you belong to a church that exists for others and not for you. Better put, this church does exist for the full body, for all of it, for the outsiders and the insiders in the outsiders, and the outsider in the insider. It's a great day to caress what Dr. King meant by the beloved community. He meant a wholeness, a completeness, a fullness of being. He means a place where my sorry behind, remember the text, can coexist with your sorry behind. I know there's a nastier word to use here, although in the very terms of the great texts on different gifts, I want to stop the junior high giggling about what Jesus really rode into Jerusalem on. He rode on a donkey, right? In the name of our sorry behinds, that which we try unsuccessfully to put behind us, let us rename the beloved community as something in which we dwell. It's not something we do, it's where we dwell. Fred Craddock says that grace is like a fog. It comes like a fog, soft and gentle. Quote, when grace really happens, you can't tell the giver from the receiver. Everybody is so joyful. See, I know people who are very poor, who don't think they're poor. And I know people who are very rich who don't think they're rich. Let me leave you with one thing about the beloved community that I just found out, and it's an odd thing. Did you know that the two most popular sites on the internet are porno first and genealogy second? In porno sites, certain parts of the body are overdone. In genealogy sites, people search for their own behinds. I watched a man try to fit his car into a parking place the other day on East 18th Street. It was a really small space, and he just kept trying and trying And sure enough, there was a guy right behind him, sitting in the car, who had half a parking space behind him. And sure enough, this guy's trying to get into that little tiny parking space, and he hits the guy who's hogging the whole space. At which point, the hog driver lets out one of those large New York beeps. Beep, don't touch my car. And then he gets out and he yells at the guy for banging his car. And the guy points like that and says, look at all that space. All you have to do is move. Just move back a little bit and give me some space. And he says, no, this is my parking space. In sacramental theology, we enjoy moving our car back to give somebody else space. We say, wow, I had something to give, and I gave it. We are delighted to be a part of the great parking lot, which is life sometimes. And as a landlord, we are delighted to rent apartments at fair rates. And as tenants, we are delighted to park our sorry behinds in such places. Amen.